inspire, empower, grab your girls and soar a little higher, unlock the fire in you, cause real women don't bitch, no, real women don't, 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 real women don't bitch.
Hey, thank you for joining me on the Real Women Don't Bitch podcast. This is your proud host, August Crenshaw, aka Mrs. Raw, Real, and Relentless. I am the #1 advanced mental conditioning specialist for entrepreneurs because building mental muscle is necessary in order to implement successful business strategies. This show has been created for the woman who is not excuse-driven and needs help building a profitable business. I will be interviewing women from various fields who are willing to break the silence on struggles that specifically affect female entrepreneurs. Welcome to a show where I and guest speakers from time to time share our methods that help us beast our business no matter what is going on in our lives. Whether you are an online or brick and mortar business owner, this show is for you. We will hit every angle, personal, professional, and spiritual. Why? Because on any given day, you get hit with shit from a scenario involving one, more, or perhaps all of the above. It all impacts you and your mindset towards your business. I have made it my personal mission to provide a space where we dive deep into the BS we face on a day-to-day basis. What it do, listeners? Okay, so I've been holding my composure together as I've been having preliminary conversations with my next guest, but I'm excited. Y'all already know. August is always excited. She's always excited, but that's because I don't bring nothing but the best on the podcast. And we're getting ready to get to the end of the year, right? This season has been all about elevation. And if we're going to talk about elevating and getting to the next level, and we talking about entrepreneurs, people that want to create their own life, that want to do their own thing, want to bring in their own money, then we got to talk about money. And we going on a whole nother other level, because I brought a financial coach in the house today. And y'all know that I'm a nerd and that I like numbers. And so this is going to be a fun podcast episode. Plus, I love this woman's beautiful soul. And she over here blushing, y'all. She over here blushing. I love it. So let me stop. Miss Terri, say hi to all the listeners.
Hey. Hi, everyone. How are you? I'm so glad to be here. Let's get this going. I'm ready.
I like this. See what I'm saying? You ain't no joke. So you guys, look, I got Terri Evans in the house. She is a financial coach, but you know how we always start things out. Let's warm them up to you. Who is Miss Terri, just period, as a woman?
Miss Terri, as a woman, first of all, is a believer. That's the very first thing about me, is my belief in Christ. I did not say a Christian. I said a believer. And so I am a believer in the kingdom of God. Number 2, I am a wife of 23 years to a wonderful husband. Used to be a pastor, so I'm a former pastor's wife. Number 3, I am a mother of 6 biological that come from me and 2 bonus children. Woo. And so I have a total of 8 children. And I have a grandchild that will be 3 months, actually on my birthday next week. Yay! So I'm a busy mother. So I'm a busy woman. I am also I still have a 9-to-5 job as well. And I am a financial manager for a college of medicine. And so I am a very busy person.
And I like how you threw in there, you know, it doesn't matter. First of all, everybody knows if I'm going to have somebody on this podcast, then they're worth it. But we have people at varying degrees on their journey. I've had 7-figure earners, and then I've had people like you that are at the beginning of their journey. But it's the beginning of your entrepreneurial journey.
That's right.
It is.
So that means just for now, right, it is going to change one day.
Sooner than soon. But you are not. But you're not new to the financial industry. You're not new to being passionate about teaching people how to manage their money. And you've got a specific niche audience that I happen to love. And we're going to have some for real conversation up in here. And for those of y'all that follow me, you know, I'll be calling a lot of y'all Christians out. But you notice what she said in the beginning. She's a hardcore believer. So she's new to entrepreneurship, but she is not new to financial intelligence. She's not new to financial acuity. If you want to be wealthy, you're going to have to get your financial knowledge game up. And so talk to them. What is it specifically that you do?
So, yes, I have been in the financial field for over 20 years, now probably over 25 years. And so this is something I have been doing for a extremely long time, most of my adulthood. Actually, I started as a teenager doing taxes, so I've been doing it for a very long time. And then, but specifically right now, I know my call, and which is part of my business, is to reach those financial areas for the people that are a part of the body of Christ. Because for so long we have missed, you know, we are so focused on giving that 10%, so focused on, you know, I got to bless the pastor, I got to bless everybody else, but you don't take care of even the rest of the 90%. And so my goal is to help educate, help empower, help teach people. It's more to it than just the tithe and the offering. It's a whole lot more, because the body of Christ has stopped prospering. Is the reason why.
Oh, okay. So y'all already know how I am. I don't discriminate according to people's beliefs, but the reality of it is that most of us have had a taste of Christianity. And there are certain things that whether you are still a believer, you were a believer, you were raised in a church, you had a moment in your life where you were like, I need to get back closer to God, that you have been, I'm going to use a funny word, institutionalized by the system of church. And you're right. I know that all my years of being in church, the thing that was always emphasized when it came to finances was tithing. Getting your blessing, getting your financial breakthrough, that was all centered around tithing. And so what I want you guys to do, whether you've had a taste of Christianity or you tasted and saw that it was good and ain't never let go of Christianity, still at the end of the day, there are certain principles. I don't care what you believe. You have to realize that they are still firm and they are still true. And I know some of y'all may not want to listen, but as you can see, this is not the tithing podcast. This is the financial stewardship podcast, because the Bible talks a whole lot about stewardship, way more than it ever said anything about tithing. And we're not even going to get into that word, period. So I just want to put that out there. I really encourage everybody, you know, to stay tuned and to be engaged in this conversation, and, you know, put comments in. Let me see where you're at and how you feeling, because I know that you know, and I know that you know what it feels like. And you're right, Terri. Everybody knows what to do with that 10%, but the church isn't teaching people what to do with the 90%. And we know there's some people, you know, that do what they do, but the vast majority of churches, they're not talking about that 90%. And I know you got a lot to say about that. So just whatever's in your heart right now, I would love for you to just, you go, and I'm going to follow you, because this is your zone of genius.
Okay. So going back to, I'm not even going to call it the tithe, but that's the first fruit is what we call it. And so being in church literally all of my life, and to even go back, because my father is a pastor. And you heard me say earlier that my husband was a pastor. Before my husband was a pastor, he was an assistant pastor. And so when I say I have spent literally all my time in church, I have spent my entire life in church. And not only in church, I have been the financial secretary, I have been the administrative secretary. So I have all of the behind the scenes look at, you know, what goes on financially in the church and in the body of Christ. And so in that, and learning all this and being in church all this time, all I've heard literally was, you know, if you pay your tithes, if you give that first fruit and give your offering, then the windows of heaven will open up and pour out a blessing that you would not have room enough to receive.
Mm-hmm.
But then I look over the congregation, and I promise you, besides the pastor himself and maybe 2% of the congregation, the other 98% have the windows of heaven is not opening up for them yet. They are still giving their tithe. They're still giving their offering, and then they go home and the lights are being turned off. And I talked before, once upon a time in my life, because I was doing the same thing. How I would have the gas on in the winter, but in the summertime I couldn't afford to keep the gas on. So I didn't have my gas running in there. In the summertime, I would use heat water up in the microwave and pour it in the bathtub, to heat up water for me and my children. And so go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I just said this is real talk.
Oh, so we were going to church every Sunday, looking good, giving, shouting, speaking in tongues, everything else, enjoying ourselves. And then we went home, and we were literally in a poverty state. Nothing, was going right for us. And then I went from all of that to, I got the credit cards because I had to, maintain. And so now I have maxed out credit cards. I still don't have enough money coming through. And so, but nobody really taught me that, okay, Terri, you've given this money, this 90%, there is a strategy that you can utilize to not only bless the church, but be a blessing to yourself. Absolutely. And I think that's what we have missed, is that God didn't put us down here to just bless the church, but he wants us to live a blessed life as well. And if we don't know what to do with the money, we would never live that life. It's ignorance. It's ignorance to the nth degree, because not only did we not learn this in the church, our parents didn't learn this, their parents didn't learn this, therefore it's a generational curse. And we're continuing this path, and then we're teaching our children the same thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, I wanted to ask you, could I interject? Because I already see that you're going to spew out a lot of stuff. And I love to, stop to make sure that the listeners are connecting the dots. And I wanted to share something as you were speaking, because it came to me to share this, but let me, ravel all of this back up. And yes, you're right. Not only did we not learn it in the church, we didn't learn it from a practical standpoint. And whether you're spiritual or not, which we all are to some degree, whether you deny it, the point is there are entrepreneurs that are out there where it's the same gimmick. It's the same thing. The church is saying invest and put the 10% in order for the windows of heaven to pour out a blessing. And the coaches are saying, give us all of your freaking money to prove to the universe so that you can get your financial blessing. And a lot of people don't trip off of that. But I say that the coaching industry sometimes looks kind of fickle, like some of the pastors from the pulpit, as to how they talk about money and how it should be invested and how you should move with your dream. But here's something, and I know you're going to be feeling me on this. Remember the parable about the talents? What the church has always done for me has always been like, look, you got to get out there and you got to work. And then after you do all this hard work at this job that ain't barely paying you enough money, that you need to pay us, and you need to believe faith, whether it's your rent, your electric, or whatever it is, pay God, trust God, and you just figure it out. But when you look at the parable of the talents, the man blessed. The man gave the money. See, God is pouring out a blessing automatically off the rip. You were blessed. And then it was what you did with the blessing that was the reason why you were able to keep it or not. And so, and I don't hear pastors talking about the fact that the financial blessing is coming from God in the first place. Without regard to whether or not your sin life is up to par, because that's the other thing. You start saying, well, maybe you're out of the will of God. Maybe these things aren't working out right. So even though you're paying your tithes, well, there's no contingencies. You know what I'm saying? It says, given it shall be given, pressed down, shaken over, running over, flowing to you. It says that, give it, at the top of the month, give as it's been put in your heart. If you give abundantly, you receive abundantly. If you give scarcely,
Right.
you receive scarcely. But that's the other thing. I just threw that in as a side note. A lot of times people are condemned for not having their financial blessing. But back to my whole thing with the analogy about the talents, it all boiled down to, what did you do? And my point is that they invested. See,
Right.
we don't talk about that. They did something with the money. Not, they weren't just working to get. The one with the one talent didn't invest. He just dug it under the ground. The one with the 5 invested and got a return. The one with the 10 invested and got a return. And when I remember reading it, and I was like, God, so wait a minute. You mean to tell me that my money's supposed to be working for me?
That's right. That's right.
Come. So
And
go ahead.
And even going back to that analogy that you're using, but I've also taught on that particular analogy, because if you really think about it, that the guy, the one that invested, that had the 10 talents, and he invested 10, the one that had the 5 invested 5. Okay, so in all of that, why did the rich ruler get mad at the one that didn't? Because the reason he got mad at that one is because he knew better. He knew what to do. He was trained to invest. He was told to invest. And because he didn't, he suffered the consequences.
Mm-hmm.
And so we don't teach this at church. Yeah, they invested, but somebody had to tell them how.
Yeah, it makes me think
tell
about.
them to do it.
Yeah, it makes me think about that scripture that a lot of people quote that says that my people perish for a lack of knowledge, but there's a comma and it says because they rejected it. So a lot of times people will be like, oh, woe is me. I'm in this bad state because I didn't know. No, you're not going to be in a place of not knowing unless you decide to voluntarily reject knowledge, because like even right now, listening to this podcast is an opportunity for your ears to perk up and say, okay, you know what? I got to be real honest. All I do is make money in my business and pay bills with the money in my business. I'm co-mingling funds from my personal to my business account. Matter of fact, I don't even have a legitimate business account. I'm murky in the waters, and I use my business account to spend money over here and, to buy groceries and to do my business expenses. The bottom line is we're not being stewards. And over and over and over again, we're taught that we're supposed to be stewards. And so I kind of switch gears just a little bit, because we know this is a generalization. We don't do what we're supposed to do. We haven't been taught what we're supposed to do. And I would like for you to talk about some of the key things that, you see people doing wrong, with their money.
Okay. I say first and foremost, I think we don't understand the purpose of our money. And we interchange working, an 8-hour job or 10 to 12 hours a day with what our money is supposed to do. And so when we're blessed with this money, our money is supposed to be doing the work for us. If we put it in the right place, the money will do the work for us. A lot of us, we're caught up in financial distress because we don't know what the purpose of money and what to do with the money. And therefore, we're just throwing our money in different directions with no assignment. And so if our money does not have an assignment, it's just thrown anywhere and we're doing anything with it. And when I say assignment, I mean, it goes back to budgeting. A lot of us don't budget. And that's the basic thing. It's just doing a budget. And then some of us, we try to budget and then we budget for the entire year and say, okay, this is my budget I did January 1st and it's supposed to carry me through the whole year. Yet, every month we have things to change. And so you can't expect that budget to continue to work for you. Then we may have a set assignment, but we have these spending triggers that we don't have control of, which we get emotional about, and because of our emotions we begin to go and spend. We have spending triggers for different occasions. Because a birthday, we want to go and spend all the money because it's somebody's birthday. We have a spender, and it's sad to say, but pride plays a big part
Oh,
in
yeah.
how we spend, because we want to look good. We want the surface to look like we have it going on and everything. And so pride plays a part in that. So we don't understand spending triggers yet. So we are continually bogged down by our spending triggers.
No,
And I could
absolutely.
go on. Go
Yeah, no,
on.
no, I was gonna say you look. You said you can keep going, and you've
I
listed
can.
three of them that are really good. And for the entrepreneur, we call that spinning trigger, whatever it ultimately is. The generalization is it's called shiny object syndrome. And so, whatever next that best looking thing, a lot of entrepreneurs could be like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna stay peaceful. I'm gonna stay humble. This is where I'm gonna be at, and I'm gonna be good. As soon as they get an influx of money, then they're like, oh, I'm going to invest in this next big thing over here. And because if I make my pictures look better, if I do this, if I do that, not understanding that some of the stuff you need to do, I don't pay for everything, but there was a time when I did all my graphics. Today, my books I paid somebody to make my covers, but I didn't do that because I'm balling out of control now. My income is at a different place. My business is in a different place. But for those of you that have followed me long enough, when I first started building my business, as I really, really had to look at what it looked like to invest, I said, wait a minute, do I want to invest in this huge, almost 14 square foot apartment? Or do I want to, because at this time, my two youngest ones were the only one with me, and they were, they baby bed and always being in our room. Or do I want to downgrade and be in a 1-bedroom apartment? And I know a lot of entrepreneurs, that goes back to the thing you said about the pride, wanting to look the part, wanting to feel the part, not understanding that you should be so settled in your expertise. I used to do videos with a blank wall behind me and the same rotation of t-shirts, which I do still kind of do that because I just like Old Faithful. That's just me. Some of us, we like that one t-shirt and then pair of sweatpants with the hole in them. We just love what we love. But nevertheless, it's still those same things. And so I know that the average entrepreneur, they don't have a budget. They haven't went through and said, if I'm making this amount of money, that X amount of dollars is absolutely needed in order to keep my business functioning, the tithe, so to speak, to your business.
Right.
And then this is what needs to be paid to me. This is what needs to be put, towards whatever. We don't delegate. Like you said, give assignments. We don't delegate our funds. And then we sitting there looking like, oh, what happened? And I call it, I'm going to pass it back to you, but I call it windfall clients. I remember one of my clients, she came in, she's like, oh my God, I just got the easiest sale that I ever had. And she was barely charging $1,500 for a product. And I think the guy came in and was like, oh, I need 2 of those, and spent $3,000 just like that. Oh, I'm upping my prices. I'm going to do this. And she started changing how she spent. I said, whoa, baby. I said, that's a windfall client, like windfall money, lottery money, somebody passed and you get, you were written in the will or insurance. I said, that's not consistent. It's not steady money. You can't start recreating your budget and your goals off of a one-hit wonder. And so teaching my clients to have stability and understand the patterns of what's happening with their money. We both speak very similar languages, even though finances is not my core area of expertise, because I'm just like you. We gotta stop doing this with our money. Otherwise, I call it creating an entrepreneur job. You're a slave to your entrepreneurship.
And even piggybacking off of what you're saying, all of that goes back to our mindsets, because I know you teach mindset and strategy where it comes to the entrepreneur, but that entrepreneur has to have the right mindset financially as well. And so, one, if you don't know where you are financially, okay, well, you will go and do just crazy, frivolous stuff. But you have to know where you are. You need to know what you can and cannot do at the point you are right now. And so you can't go and spend like you're a millionaire when you are only a thousandaire. And so you have to know where you are and have the mindset to stay settled enough that I am going to slowly walk this road until I get to that point. Because just like I do now, right now, like I said, I still have my 9 to 5. Every month, I get paid once a month. Every month, I take a certain percentage of my money and I funnel it over to my business account so I can have money for my business. One day, I won't have to do that, but I know what I have to do in order, and that money is to stay there until I need it for the business. And so it is assigned for business use only. So if I need to do something in the business, I can utilize that money business for the business. But again, I have to assign a task to my money.
Absolutely.
Whether that task is to grow financially, which is to invest. I do have investments account. My 14-year-old now is investing because her and I sat and talked about, okay, baby, it's this app called Stockpile. You can invest. You don't have to have a lot of money to invest. People think you have to have a lot. $5. We're going to take every month. We're going to take a certain amount of money, and we're going to talk about what do you like, and we're going to invest. Teach them young. Yeah. But anyway, getting back to it, assignment. Assign the money and let the money work per the assignment. And so, and that goes for anybody, entrepreneur, anybody.
And I'm listening to you, and I know that my listeners are already probably like, oh, Lord, August 2 seconds away from a rant. And this ties back into, the pride thing. You have to really just understand where you are. And a lot of people will be like, oh, my God, I want to work with that coach over there. And this coach is charging like $20,000 to work with them for the year. Or they got a program that's only 12 weeks and it's $8,000. And they have nigger rigged their taxes to get about $7,000 to $10,000 back and will make a huge down payment or invest in something. And it's all in the name of their business. But because they don't know the financial health of their business, the financial health of themselves personally, and there's a direct correlation between the two, who you are personally and who you are professionally, it's all the same thing. And they go and they spend this money instead of saying, I ain't ready. See, the people that write copy and the people that sell, most of them use their power for evil. And I mean this. They put the ads out there in such a way to create an impulsive sensation and desire in you to cause you to purchase. And I remember last year I was at a conference in St. Louis and I saw this gentleman from Australia, and I absolutely adored something that he did. He spoke and he sold from the stage. He has said, look, you got 2 ways to do this. Here go all these books. Buy these books, read these books. It's the snail way, but you can do this on your own. Just don't expect to build your business as quickly as somebody that has a coach. He said, now, for those of you that want accelerated growth, and he was doing some stuff with business and real estate, I got this program and it's $6,000. You can go into the back and you can sign up. And then he said, but here's my disclaimer. Don't be sitting in that seat trying to figure out how you were going to ask me if you can just put $500 down and you'll come up with the other $5,500. He said, what you need to understand is if you didn't come here today prepared to spend $6,000, then your health of your business, the maturity of your business is not in a place where you should be trying to invest that. And what a lot of people are not doing is they're not saying, you know what? I hear this person over here, but I'm not mature enough, because the money that they're assigning, this is what I love about what you said, and I'm going to pass this mic back. Really think about this. The people that want to start a business, most people know they want to start a business long before they ever do. They entertain it in their mind. My question is if you know you want to start a business, why you ain't just putting $50 aside? Like that pride money that you got to look like your friends and they going out to eat. Why do you have to go out and eat with them? If you've already launched your business and maybe you got a good luck streak, and I don't care whether it's because you're selling something simple like weight loss or jewelry or whatever, when you making that money, instead of getting excited because you making more money on the side while you working the job, why aren't you setting aside $75 a month? So you could be doing that and be okay for about a year. And then all of a sudden you hit a plateau and you're like, I don't know what else to do. I need guidance. And then when you run into a coach who has a program that's $200, $300 a month or a one-time fee, you've saved more than you could imagine. You have something set aside. And if you're delegating your money and putting it to the side because you believe in your dream, then the windows of heaven are going to open up for you to bless that business. But you have got to ask yourself, why am I not treating my business like it's my main thing, my primary goal? Because we spend money on what we believe in.
Yes, we do. And to piggyback off of that, the reason why we don't treat our business as our main thing is because we have no vision for our business. And so what we do is we start a business, we're good at doing something, and we start our business and we're like, oh, I'm very good at doing this, I can do this, and I know I can get people to do it, but it's no vision. You can't see past next month, next year. And so what is, and I know I talk about a why, but I talk about the why. So really, what's the value in what you're doing? It should really coincide with your value system.
Yeah.
And then even going back to what you were saying about the pride thing, just like me, I could very well go out and say, well, I can go get me a an office, because I have family at home and this and that, and so I can go pay somebody however much a month for an office, which would be foolish for me to do because I am not at that point yet.
Yeah.
And you did hear me say yet. So
yes.
One day. But pride would say you don't want to be at home doing your live broadcast. People don't want to see your fireplace every time sitting in your kitchen and your kids coming through. You don't want to be like that. You want to go and pay your money and get into an office where you can have it all plush and pretty, and not thinking once I get the office, I got to pay not only for the office space, I got to pay for furniture. I got to figure out internet connection. I got to give me all this other stuff, computers and blah blah. Come on now, you got to think about it. You got to have a vision. You have to have a dream, which that's what your business is. You have to have a dream. You have to have your vision. Then you have to have the process, which are the goals. My process would get me there one day, but right now, financially, my process says stay right here.
Yeah.
And then it would eventually grow to the point where I can afford, or not necessarily afford, but when it's time for me to move, that's when I would move.
I'm just sitting here, and while you were talking, I was thinking about many, many years ago. I got into, so I've been an entrepreneur since day one. I've had some jobs on the side, rough marriages and stuff like that. But nevertheless, I've always done hair. And even before then, I was the kid that was selling candy, apples, and anything you would think of. I've always been able to get my hands on some money. But one of the beautiful things, I know a lot of people don't like MLMs. I'm not anti-MLMs. I just believe in creating my own thing. But I still give a lot of credit to multi-level marketing companies, because whenever I've signed up with one, that was when I was told to read, How to Win Friends and Influence People, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That's when I was told to start reading all of these books to impact the way that you are as a leader, how you think about life and about money. And one of the books that I read was called The Millionaire Next Door. And all it was basically a bunch of stories about everyday people who were in your neighborhood with the same jeans, with their little ran over tennis shoes, that may have looked, they may have looked like they didn't have a dime. And it's not that they didn't care about their appearance. It's not that they were bums. But if they just go into the grocery store, they ain't have to have their brows and their lashes on fleek. They need to have their weave all the way 1,000% on point. But at the end of the day, if they needed to go to the bank and just withdraw 10 grand, they could do that. If they wanted to hop on the plane at the last moment just to go overseas, they could. And they had a quality of life. And with the beautiful thing about online is that it gives us access to everybody. The curse of online is that it gives us access to everybody. And the people that are playing the game and they're paying to play the game are putting these images up. And I've seen plenty of articles about a lot of Instagram stars that don't have anything. They're paying to take pictures in front of jets. They're paying for photographers. All of this in the hopes of having so many viewers and so much engagement that they'll get endorsement deals and stuff like that, understanding that the battle isn't given to the swift or the strong, but to the one that will endure to the end. Entrepreneurship is about the journey. Entrepreneurship is about your growth. Entrepreneurship is about your development. And so everybody that's here, you literally have to ask yourself, what is the why behind the why? Why am I doing what I'm doing? Because being good enough is not going to cut it. You're going to launch products and services and have success. You're going to launch products and services and they're going to flop. That happens with multi-million-dollar companies all the time. You're going to have to still have your head game right. You're going to have, we both know what this looks like, accidents on top of accidents. You're going to have, you're going to have your home piping and plumbing issues. That's your kids are going to act crazy. Spouse is going to act crazy, and all of this while you have to keep your psyche in control. And I'm taking this back to your office comment, because then that thing is, oh, well, you know what? In order for me to just be able to focus and run my business, I got to go get an office space. But you're going to leave one headache in order to create another headache. And there's something that I say, and I don't say it too often because I don't want anybody to get it misconstrued. But I tell people all the time, you can't have it all. And don't you say it, August. Because we're abundance mindset. No, everybody's going to have to sacrifice something. It's about where your values lie. What's the most important?
Exactly.
So people that love fame, there's something about the fame. There's something about the energy. There's something about being able to live in a gated community where nobody can come and bother you unless you give them permission. There's something about the fine dining, the places they travel. But you know what? What they can't do is say, I like to, back from my old hood, go around on Union and Natural Bridge to the Schnucks grocery store and just walk in there like a regular person. There's going to be something that you have to sacrifice, but it shouldn't matter that much if you're saying, but at the top of my value systems, this is what matters the most. And yes, you have to do that with your financial health of your personal finances and even with your business finances. And so when I say that this is my vision for my business, when I see myself as speaking events with a table full of books, well, I can't keep saying that, and I still got one book that I'm working on. You know what I'm saying? People are like, August, how do you write so many books so fast? Because I am in tune with my vision. And so what's happening is spiritually, I keep getting all of these ideas that keep coming to me, and they fire ideas at that, y'all. And I keep flushing them out. And so when you know what you're doing, why you're doing, your energy and your money is going to lend itself to that. And just away from the whole entrepreneurial thing, because I just want you guys to be good, period. Personally, when it comes to your finances, you can't just say, oh, I'm going to have an emergency fund because that's what I heard. I heard that you should have an emergency fund. I'm going to have a savings account. I'm going to have an investment account. You have to have passion behind what you're doing with this money, which is what you were just saying. Come on.
And two things, and I'm going to try to remember both of them. I'm going to start here with this emergency fund. Y'all don't get it twisted. You need that emergency fund because life happens. And I said I was going to stop calling it an emergency fund. It's a life fund because life happens. Just like I had in 1 month's time, I had both of my vehicles. My vehicle was hit, then my husband's vehicle was hit and totaled out. Then now my drive's gone out. All this has happened in like the past month. Everything has happened, but I have to have money to get my drive fixed. I had to have money to, even though insurance paid for stuff, you still have to have money to pay the rental car company so you can put a down payment on a car so you can rent a car. And then when everything runs out, if you still need a rental car, you got to have some money to pay for. You have to have money readily available for life.
Yes,
we have to. Then going back to what you were saying about we can't have it all. We shouldn't want it all because our vision should dictate what we desire. Our values should dictate what we desire, and we shouldn't desire everything. You know, one of the things I've learned in working my job, because I work directly under the associate dean of finance, and I asked a question about what kind of car she drives, and she was like, don't put money into something that depreciates as soon as you drive it off the car lot. It's not an asset. It's a depreciable item. And I really had to think about it. She said, all a car does is it gets you from point A to point B. If you're willing to put all of your money into something that you're going to just drive, just need to get to the store in, or you just need to get to the movies or wherever you're going, it's just to take you to where it's a vehicle. Exactly what it's called is a vehicle. Why do we put all our money in there? And it's funny because I look on Facebook now, and some of the entrepreneurs, and they always posting these pictures of the fine cars. And I'm like, do they really realize that it's more to life than a depreciable item that once you drive it 2 days, it's not worth half that you're going to pay for it? Not even a quarter what you're going to pay for it. So why do we invest in things that don't make a difference and not invest in our dreams, like our business, like our family, even our home? Why don't we invest in things that make a difference to us, not to look good, but to get us to where we need to go?
Absolutely. Don't invest in things to make you look good, whether that's your home or whether that's your business. Invest in the things that bring you value. And it goes back to something that you mentioned earlier in this podcast. And I was talking in one of my groups earlier today, and I was kind of chewing some of the ladies out because they didn't do some things that they were supposed to do. And I'm like, I'm calling y'all out. And they know, because I'm very transparent with my tribe. They don't know the full details, but sometimes the seasons just come where it just looks like it's dark. And I got a lot of things that are, coming at me spiritually, and I'm still showing up. And because some of them are so close to me, they got a little glimpse of it. And I know what they doing. They trying to make sure that they don't bombard me, with too much stuff. But I had to tell them, don't do me any favors. Because if I was working for corporate America and I didn't have no paid time off, or maybe even if I did have paid vacation or sick days, but I didn't want to fall behind on a project or give somebody else a chance to, get commission off my sales, whether you got low ticket, whether you have a low position in a company or a higher position in a company, as pissed off and as jacked up as I would be, I would still show up. Because the family medical leave back ain't going to do me no good, because I'm still ain't going to get paid. It's just guaranteeing I'm going to have a job. I would make a way out of no way. And I told the ladies, I said, what you cannot do for me is you can't think for me. I'm your coach. And because of the kind of coach that I am, you need to still lean in on me. You still need to come to me and ask me for help, because helping them helps me help myself. It's when we're doing things for other people that a lot of times the clarity comes for what we need to do. My vision and my business, it brings me life. It brings me joy. And so I'm going to make sure that everything around me that is related to my business, that it brings me joy, that it brings me peace. Not that it brings me a good look. Not that it brings me, some type of status. Because those things, there's stuff, you talk about collateral damage, where there's also a residual effect. Some things constantly keep coming no matter what it is. So ladies, you got to really ask yourself, what is it? What is it that I want? What is it that I value? And in order to get there, what do I have to do? And the one thing I refuse to do is to put myself in a position where I am so financially vexed from being immature and having an entitlement mentality that says I deserve something beforehand. A lot of times I won't make certain decisions because it's like, you know what? If I lost stability with my business, would it make me have to go get a part-time job? Would it pull me away from what I do all the time? And so because I'm a student of my craft and I study my business, I pause. I pause before I spend money on certain things. I don't get excited and just throw all of my money down the drain. And you guys, what are you doing? What are you reaching out to? And a lot of you're missing out on opportunities because you got diamonds in the rough right next to you, but you keep on looking at those coaches that have the look. But once you pay for their shit, they gonna give you. I know a woman that paid $6,000 to be in a program, and all she got was a bunch of templates. and she didn't know what she was doing afterwards. She paid me $600 just to have a couple of quick talks with me. And she was like, I got more from you than I did when I spent that $6,000. You guys, just check your financial health. And when you know what you're doing, you know, you won't just invest into anything because you're going to be like, they saying they do this and that, but this doesn't line up with my vision. Why would, if you have a vision of doing something publicly, even though you need online stuff in the background, why would you invest in something if somebody's telling you, but the next best thing is this online thing? Why would you do that if you know that that's not where your company is going? If you know that you got this online thing that would easily be automated and you got this vision for being a techie type of person, why would you work with somebody or work with something that says the new wave is to learn how to be a speaker out in the crowd? I just see people spending money on anything that they believe will get them to the next level instead of saying, who's lining up with my vision and where I want to go? Who's lining up? And that's what you and I both do with people. Our area of expertise, sure, we could just take somebody down a pipeline and we could say do X, Y, and Z. But both of us say, but who are you? What do you want? And then we give advice and expertise based on that vision. And if you ain't got the vision yet, we going to make you say what it is.
Right.
We're going to make you say what it is. Go ahead. You can take it back.
Well, I'm listening to you, and I'm gleaning too. So I want to kind of taper it down to here right now because I know you talked about having a coach and spending that unnecessarily money for the coach. But let me say this, me personally, the best thing I could have done was to hire a coach, and I hired you. And thank God it wasn't $6,000 to hire you as my coach, but it was where I knew where I was at that time. I know where I am right now, and I know what I can afford to give to having some coaching, some expertise, because getting out here as an entrepreneur, going back to your vision, and you have to be willing to finance your vision. And so it may not be a whole lot to begin with, but you have to start somewhere. And if you're not willing to invest in your dream or your vision or your business, you can't expect, and this is just what my stance right now, you can't expect it to be much of anything if you're not willing to put, because investing is more than money. It's time, it's money, it's effort, it's personality, it's everything.
Yes.
You have to be willing to invest into your dream, into your vision, into your business. And so right now, my dream is my financial business. It's financial coaching, is speaking, is doing all these great things. And so in order to get to that point, because I don't have the expertise of a business owner, therefore I have to reach out to someone that has the expertise. Now I have to know how much I can spend on that expertise right now, because I have to know where I stand right now financially.
Yes.
Therefore I have to find someone that is in that, has the expertise, number one, and where I can afford it.
Yes.
And I might not be able to do one-on-one right now, but I feel like what I'm getting is just as good as a one-on-one, because before I wasn't getting anything. So to me, it's like a one-on-one. So the best thing I could have done was invest into a coach with expertise in what I want to do.
Absolutely. Amen.
And so
to that. Go ahead.
The thing with you is not only do you have the expertise in entrepreneurship, but you also have it in finances. And so you may not say it, but I would suggest anybody to think about who they want their coach to be. Somebody that really understands what they're doing. You know, it defeats the purpose for me to go and hire a coach that's a great speaker and to help me with my speaking, but they don't understand what I'm speaking about.
Right.
And so it finding the right coach is and investing in a coach was the best thing I could have done for my sanity and for my business.
Well, thank you. I appreciate all of that, and then some. And it does. I definitely wouldn't work with anybody if I didn't feel like I understood their industry, because there's so much of that stuff in the background, tapping into your ideal client and doing all of that stuff. And how do you help somebody with that language if you don't understand what they're doing? The only thing you could do is say, follow these bullet points, and I'm supposed to figure it out. Well, if you're supposed to figure it out, why did you hire a coach? But it's still, I'm going to push it back to you, because it's the same thing. Having a financial coach to help you with that dream when there are so many things that you don't know. You got to ask yourself, okay, look, it's not that you guys don't have the money, but you don't have the discipline. You don't even have the know-how. You know that there's something that you need to do, but you don't really know what to do. And you know what it looks like, because this is your 17th time establishing an emergency fund. And it's so crazy. And like you said, I agree with you. Call it abundance fund, a life abundance fund. So, you always have a, excessive amount of whatever it is, say, put a positive, spin on it. But for the typical jargon that you all are used to having, as soon as you establish it and you get it up to here, the emergency comes that zaps it all the way out. And a lot of times the emergency came and zapped it all the way out because you're not attentive. And then there's so much more to this, because when you are paying attention to, like you said, spending triggers or just even financial patterns, every time I get this far, this type of thing happens with a car or with a house. Maybe you need to pay better attention to your vehicle. Maybe you need to pay better attention to your home, and you need to still keep stacking money. There's just so many different ways that this can go. But I know working with you, you make people, like you say, pause, look at your mindset, look at what's going on, look at your why, look at all of these things. And we've got to start realizing in the kingdom and even out of the kingdom, because the point is most of us have minimal to no financial acuity. You have got to hire yourself a coach. Sometimes it's for the discipline. It's for the know-how, but it's also for the discipline, because it's easy to sit there and say, well, it's an emergency fund, so I had to dip in it. But talking to you might be like, okay, is that really the kind of emergency that you had to dip into? Or could you have delayed something? Could you have made a different decision? And y'all know y'all be wrestling sometimes like, dang, I just saved this money, and you put it in an envelope or something, and now I got to spend it. That's what you're there for. So you're there to help them get past that stuff. And I want you to tell them where to find you so that they can be connected with you. Of course, the links will be on the website, but for the people that are listening, where they find you at, Terri?
Okay. You can find me on Facebook, Positive Treasures Facebook page. So if you go on the Facebook, there's only one Positive Treasures. Hallelujah. And that's me. And so you can find me there. But can I take just a step back and say something?
Yes, please.
When you're talking about this emergency fund, I just want to talk about one client that I had before. And it's funny because when we think about it, we always think about it in the mindset that we have the emergency fund and we spend it. But what about those people? And there's people out there that have the emergency fund and they have too much in their savings account for the emergency fund, and so they have like $10,000-$15,000 just sitting in a savings account that's not making them any money.
Rolling.
And so when I go and say, well, how much money do you have in your emergency fund? 15,000. Oh, baby, no, don't do that. Yes, you can have a savings account and you keep X amount of money in it, but then you need to put it over into a Roth IRA, or you need to put it somewhere where your money can begin to make money for you, but it's still liquid money because you can still get to it. But I mean, just things like this, people don't know.
You have it in a place where it's still taxable income, and so you got to say, maybe I shouldn't have that there,
Right. And so, it's financial coaching is a broad spectrum when it really comes to your finances, because you can be on the side where I have so much money and I'm spending it and I'm just willy-nilly spending money, shouldn't be spending it. I just need some help just telling me to just stop spending the money. Or you can be the one that you have a psychological issue with saving money and you just just saving everything and you're not enjoying life, and then you're not making any money on the money that you're saving. And so
He
it's
told
it's
you.
it's a lot to it. But again, back to the original question, you can find me on Positive Treasures Facebook page. I also have a free, if anyone would like to join the
Yeah.
free Facebook page, Financial Living, and that just to give you an idea of some of the things that I would talk about in some of my paid groups, is that Financial Living group, keeping your mind on your finances.
Yes, yes, yes. You guys connect with her. I'm putting my stamp of approval on it. Yeah, I know some people I have on here and I say I love their energy. They're good people. Other people I say, look, I've seen the heart and soul of them. I've seen the way that they serve. I've gotten a chance to hear what they believe in. And I'm saying that this one right here, she's a winner. She's a winner. So find Miss Terri Evans, Miss Positive Treasures, / her financial group. Follow her, listen to her, see what, if her value system meshes with yours, and where you at and what kind of pains you're feeling. Are you too frugal or are you too frivolous? I don't know which one you are, but let's get it together, you guys. Let's change our financial trajectory. Let's start walking in more abundance. Let's start operating with more stewardship. Let's start doing more with our money so that our money can do more for us. I'm going to go ahead and put it out there right now. You and I are going to have some side conversations, because after January, we coming back with season 3, and the theme is restoration. And so we need to talk about the restored place. What that looks like, once you've been restored from financial calamity, or it might take another spin, but I would love to have you back on the podcast. It would be such a freaking honor, because you're amazing. Everybody that's tuned in and listened, I hope that you were convicted and you're going to do something different, and we will see you out there. In the meantime and in between time, can we say bye, y'all?
Bye, y'all.
Thank you for joining me today. Remember to cultivate a mindset that is biased towards taking action. No bitching, whining, or complaining. Here, our mantra is, real women don't bitch, we get shit done. See you next week as I continue to bring you what you need to keep your head in the game and beast your business. Don't forget to hit subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. Would you like a specific topic covered? Have a question you would like answered live? Then head on over to realwomen.don't bitch podcast.com. Subscribe to my email list, hit me up, and I got you. Interested in being a guest speaker? You walk the walk? Then you can sign up on the website too. This is your #1 advanced mental conditioning specialist for entrepreneurs, Mrs. Raw, Real, and Relentless. Signing out. Deuces.
Inspire, empower, grab your girls and soar a little higher. Unlock the fire in